game just released on the, oh, what is it? The PlayStation 5. There's a brand new game, extremely popular among the kids, in the likes of Fortnite and Rocket League, and the suches. And I've heard that in fact there is the most popularly and well sold game of all time. The Chess Master. That is he. And it might not be revealed to at first, but upon further glancing, one might notice I am the Chess Master. Him is me, as I am 165 years old. And I think, after continued introduction, that it has finally arrived at the time we shall enjoy the game known as Chess Master. This game just came out on the ps5. It is quite new, yes, quite new. And I'm excited to show you all the secrets I know as the Chess Master. But enough is enough when it comes to promises that go unproven. As the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. Yes, actions speak louder than words. We will start our game with the Chess Master. It's amazed I got this cartridge as it is so rare. But I have retrieved it just for this instance. Oh, so excuse me. My lungs don't work as they used to anymore. Now, I'm not sure if anyone has heard, but this chess game is extremely similar to one of another, who goes by the name that shall not be tamed or said by anyone but I. It is similar to a game called Inscription, which is kind of like Chess Master, but easier. Chess Master, of course, and everything below it pales in comparison to this game because it is so beautiful. Oh, he can cheat. I did not know this. He straight up can cheat. Okay. See, the Chess Master, who as we know is based off of me, can look 15 moves ahead. So he is a little bit of a cheater, unlike I, which I'm not. But that is okay. So I will try to find the best choice of gameplay. To those who are new to this ancient game of chess, in this newest edition on the PlayStation 5, made by Sony Entertainment. The game of chess, oh, excuse me, I mean chess, has thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of possible openings, all of them being extremity important, as if the wrong opening is made by an uncapitalful fellow, one can expect failure in the endgame, as their pieces are slowly taken by the opposing forces of pawns, knights, rooks, bishops, and king and queen of alike. It can be difficult to move certain pieces based on one's opening, but that is no matter for us, because we will be using, listen here, Write in your notes. Get out your sketch pads, your sticky notes, as you say. The best opening in chess. Tell anyone not. Is the left rook opening? Or do you move? Oh. Hold on. Or do you move the pawn 2 ahead? This opens up your rook in the future. This is the best move possible. Don't ever do anything but this move. I promise you. Anyways, now it is time for what is known in the chess world only as the second move of the game. In this move, you are deciding the course, attitude, and aptitude of how the game will play and commence. With this move, you will not only determine if you will be the dominant, aggressive force, but also if you will be the defensive, passive force. A game of chess can be won in many ways. A game of sacrifice, protection, and many alike. But I do incline to go on the aggressor, because it is with the aggressor that you are truly able to feel alive in this game that we know of chess. So I'll be doing so. By playing aggressive, you agree to your opponent, you make it clear that you will be going for moves far ahead of what you currently know. And by doing so, you might leave yourself vulnerable at times. But this is a sacrifice you're willing to accept. I will move my left knight here, as if I do, it could get the pawn on coming. And honestly, he will most likely do the same with his knight on his right in order to protect it. Let us see what he does this time. Just as I have predicted. If he moves his pawn and I take, he will take my knight. This is an extremely common beginning to a game. It is how you know it might turn out far more simple than one would like. And so the common retort, as the French say, is to move out a pawn as to protect your knight from being taken from you. But all I say to that is no. There are so many options in the game of chess, so many that I cannot account for all of them. I will move here. That is what I have chosen to do, and that is what I will stick to. Oh, yes. This is the Slovakian gambit. What has occurred before us is simply unknown. What this means is my pawn is in danger. But this also means his pawn is in danger. If he takes my pawn, I can take his bishop. What if he takes my knight? Sorry. If I take his pawn, he takes my knight. That, of course, is not a very good trade, so we will be not doing such courses of action. But what we can do is move our knight here, take that pawn, and then he would be open for attack. Assuming, of course, hopefully this is the queen in this game, as I'm not quite sure. Now he has moved his pawn forward, as to make my knight civil danger. This is not a bad thing, as we forced him to move. And due to this, we can now move ourselves. Observe, if we choose to move here, he can move his pawn, and then I would be forced to move in a few different ways. I could move here and get it taken. I could move here and get it taken. Moving here is not a good option. Moving it here, however, is. Oh, sorry. I almost dozed off to sleep, as I often do. I am 165 years old, after all. It is common for a man of my age and stature to get quite tired at times. That is all right. We are in a bit of a pickly situation here. Well, I'm not really sure. I see, yes, I see. I understand now. My knight is in danger of the pawns. But there is little I can do about that currently. If I move it here, he can bring his pawns down and force me to move further. That would be no good. But it seems like the only place I can move. So we will commit. One thing you have to... A noble sacrifice my knight has made upon this day. And a sacrifice that will not go in vain. Rest assured, I will get back for what he has taken from me. But that, my friends, is for another day. One thing you have to learn in the game of chess is sacrifice. Sometimes it is the right decision to give up your pieces in favor of a better outcome. Whether that be through advancement or other means of advantage. Possibly just survival. Either way, it is of extreme importance that one knows exactly when, what to sacrifice, and in what way to do so. One could sacrifice by direct manners, putting their piece over another to get the other's piece in turn, or more indirect means, might I say, putting a piece directly in line of danger. But if the opponent takes it, he will be at disadvantage, even if that means you won't gain a piece. A common misconception when one thinks of chess is the only way to tell who is winning against who is how many pieces each player pertains of the other's given side. This is not of truth. As one might have just a king and a rook, and they might still win against a full board. Unlikely as it is, yes, but still a possibility. Anyways, I believe it is time for me to move my piece. And move it I shall. Where to? I'm not really sure. I'm not in the best position per se, but also not in the worst. As I have said, losing pieces isn't everything, but it is quite unfortunate when you lose pieces without really gaining much of anything. These are of the most unfortunate circumstances, I must admit. We just aren't in a good position, are we? Here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll do. I will move a pawn to act as an aggressor, willfully sacrificing my knight, because, in honest truth, I have given up on the knights. They have proven not useful to me in the slightest, and the longer they remain on my board, the more impatient I get. It really is quite unfortunate, as knights can prove to be very useful. Very useful indeed. Don't pay attention to the mouse clicks. I am on a PlayStation. Worry not. Anyways, back to the game, I suppose. So another thing one must learn in chess. Sometimes it's okay to give up on a push and retreat back to defense, or plan another offense. Either way, losing a few pieces to learn some information about your opponent, or even get in a slightly advantageous position, is not always a fruitless endeavor. In fact, it can be quite useful. I will now force his bishop to move, as if he doesn't, I will take it from him by use of pawn. And he has. There are a few things he can do. He could take my pawn with his knight. I take his knight with my pawn. He takes my pawn with my bishop. Sorry. His bishop. And then he gains advantage. But one must look upon a bit differently, eh? If I move my rook on the right to this position, then things might play out a little differently. A surprise to me, that is. For how defensive he is as a player, he sure did an offensive move. Well, that wouldn't be the smartest, as all he'd have to do at that point is go right here. Taking his rook is not a good choice. Although, to be frank, he's not leaving me with many. He's being extremely offensive at the moment, and I don't quite enjoy it. If I were to move forward, that would only put my pawn at risk, besides the bishop, of course. In total, it really would just cause more damage than good. Yet I'm running out of decisions. I force myself reluctantly, at that, to move my rook into safety. He has now performed another movement with his bishop. As unfortunate as that may be, he has made his choice. If you and any viewer has kept a keen eye on the game up to this point, one might notice that this bishop can actually advance. And eventually advance it shall. Advance to this position, where it could have advantage over the queen. This, of course, means I'd be able to take the rook if I could pressure the queen, which I cannot. Quite the predicament. I can also pressure his knight, as there's no danger of it getting taken. And if he moves his knight, which he most likely will, his queen is gone. This is what one might call a less traditional fork. A fork is a very important term in chess and often refers to one of a knight, where a knight gets wedged in a spot where it can't be taken physically or by will of king due to possible checking, to where he is in the middle of taking an important piece, such as a queen and a king. This fork allows the forkee, or the person doing the fork, to easily and safely take an important piece of he or she's or them's competitors. This is a very stable way to advance the game of chess. And I will be doing so now, but with use of bishop. If one observes closely, since there is no possible way my bishop can be taken when I move here, there are two things he can do. One, technically three. One, he can move his knight to protect it. But if he moves his knight, I will take his queen. Two, he could ignore his knight and move his queen. I would take the knight, but also get my bishop taken in turn. This would be really a bad situation, as I don't want to lose my knight. My bishop. Or three, if an opponent does this to you, a good and quick way to get out of it, when there are fewer pieces on the board, is to go for a check. If you checkmate an opponent, as you are getting forked, check an opponent, as you are getting forked, they will be forced to protect their king and disregard the check until the next move, gaining you some slight advantage. Now I have a keen eye here, and I can tell that when I move this bishop, he is simply going to ignore it or push a pawn. Most likely ignore it and do something else. But we will still make the attempt, as seen here. As you can see, he now has moved a pawn, as predicted. This, of course, is not, the best situation for us, as you were kind of hoping for him to move his knight. If I were to take the pawn in this scenario, I would just lose a bishop, and I would gain a pawn. Not exactly groundbreaking numbers there. But what I can do, of course, unless he moves his pawn forward, which would then push a movement, is move here. I can still take his queen in the future if I get the knight out of the way, which is what I will focus on. Oh, never mind. He has pushed forward yet again, something I was actually not expecting nearly as much. But this is okay. We'll move it here. If he takes with bishop, I will trade. I am okay with this, even having less pieces. How interesting. How very, very Interesting. A move so unexpected yet so expected. So predictable by the player, that be the chess master. Oh well, we will continue our game then. Although, with reluctant speech, I have to admit, as an 165-year-old man, I am not feeling the most confident. This is okay. Any chess game can be won with the right amount and mix of perseverance and sacrifice. So we will do just that. We will move this pawn forward, as there's not really a reason not to. It's only advantageous for me if he does. Oh, and it seems like he has finally realized that that bishop was going to cause him trouble, as he can look 10 moves ahead. Now that I think about it, how is that even possible? I'm not an AI. I don't know how you could possibly look 10 moves ahead. That might be a little lie. I'm not sure about that. That doesn't seem right. But anyways, took another. That's okay. We will take a pawn, advance our bishop, and be on our way. Thank you. There's a few options here. I straight up completely forgot I even had a queen here. That might have been useful, and I have no idea if it was. It would have been. That is too bad, I must say. Too bad. If I do move that, I will lose the game, as he will take my queen, and then I will lose all hope for myself. So I'd rather not have to resort to such measures. But if I lose all my pawns, I have no frontward protection. How curious, how queer. Well, I will force him for now to move his knight, which you will most... how unfortunate indeed, yes. Well... No, I'm just not in a good position at all, am I? No, I'm not. Well, this is the most likely the best move I can make at the moment, but the trade would not be of equal standards, as he could also just take with his knight after all is said and done. But he has now exposed his queen. Of course, this would not be of equal footing, as he would take my queen as well, and I would not have gained advantage in any way of the sort. But am I still willing to sacrifice my most important piece? Well, one must think back and recollect upon their past encounters with the opponent and realize how much has said one used their queen. If it is not of importance to the opponent or the player, it might as well not be there at all. And yet I'm still reluctant to do so. The queen can be the ender of games for many, but can also be the sole last survivor, can win games. How confident am I with the queen, though? Truly, how ready am I to play with it, and vice versa, one might ponder. How ready am I to play without the queen? That's I do not know. Anyways, disregarding possible futures, I will only look into the one that is current and that I know of, and that is the game of Chess Master, where I shall move my queen to this position here. I am now in check. And I am afraid he has done one of the worst actions could have possibly performed, as he has forced his way into my queen, where I must now take, and he will continue to take. This again is a precarious and in general, negative position I am in. As, with all truth, there's only one place I can move, and as soon as he gets his bishop in the way, it will be my loss. Which he has chosen not to do, luckily. Well, extremely luckily, I should say. Because, well, I was just in a bad position altogether, so I will push his bishop. He cannot move back or forward, which is good. He can only move back, which he probably won't. That's quite unfortunate. I wasn't. Well, we could always just take his piece. Simply as that. Just take it. Oh. Oh no. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Well, the few options we have, with even fewer, that's our logical. Well, I'm not sure who said it, but I remember the saying, when in doubt, advance your king. And we will do just that. Putting both in danger, unless he gets a check, which he cannot, which he can, actually. Well, he's going to put me in check, but that's okay, as I can just move again. Get closer to my core and last remaining pieces. Oh my days, he didn't put me in check. You know what, I wasn't expecting it. I'm gonna be honest, I really wasn't. So I might not sound like an old man anymore, that's my bad. Sometimes my voice fluctuates rapidly. Yet I think this is okay. Well, moving here, I guess isn't really a bad thing, actually. He's going to take my pawn, though, so he can move his rook and get me in checkmate, I can tell. I have played these games before, as that squid man says. But that is okay, because I'm going to force him to move his knight yet again, or else he will be in mortal danger. And now, my friends, well, honestly now, I'm not really sure what to do. As I've stated previously, we are not in the best of positions. In fact, we are quite disadvantaged position here. I really should have pushed that pawn forward, but I chose not to, and I will do that now, so my rook is not in any sort of danger. I'm in checkmate. I'm in checkmate. That's it. Checkmate in one. I'm not sure how, but apparently I'm in checkmate, and there's nothing I can do about the sort, which is so saddening. Am I in check, though? Yes, I am. Okay. And that, my friends, is the chess master. Oh, there were so many options we could have chosen. Wow. This looks terrible. I don't know how you can even tell what the pieces are. What? Oh, these are difficulties. This is the chess master on 100%. And these are the difficulties. Yes, I noticed they're not really, they're quite just like randomly chosen. How queer. And this is a child, I suppose. They're 24, but that is a terrifying child. Goodness gravy, get that off the screen. Choose this person. No, this chap, this capital fellow seems a lot nicer than the chess master. But, my children, look at your watches, look at your timekeeping encapsulating devices. I believe, with saddening grace, that we have ran out of time. We just surely don't have the remaining encapsulated amount of time to continue this gameplay. but I assure you it was thoroughly enjoyed by yours truly, and I'm sure that chessmaster fellow also got a kick out of it. With best regards and glorious graces, I must now say goodbye.